Hello and welcome to the File Card Podcast. My name's Joe and I'm here with my brother Mike.
Hey everyone.
All right, we're going to start part 2 of our Q&A session. But before we do, did you get any G.I. Joes in this week, Mike?
Well, yeah, so you bought me a Joe the last time you were out. I got Big Boa, which is a guy I always wanted since I was a kid, so thank you very much. That was a very nice present.
Ah, you're welcome.
He was in very good shape. Just missing the hose, right? Or the
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah, I completely dropped the ball on that. I was just excited to see him, and he was in great condition, and I didn't even look for that hose, which was silly of me.
Wow, you would have bought it anyways, right?
Yeah, it was that good. It's in good shape. It was worth.
Yeah, you'd have just
one glove is perfect, and the other glove's got just a little bit of weathering to it. So I mean, you'll be able over time upgrade that one, and then you'll be good to go.
Well, Big Boa, like I said earlier, he's one that I've always wanted, and what I wanted to use him for when I was a kid, looking through the pamphlets, is I wanted to get him and just make him train my other Cobras. You know what I mean? Like that was my goal. Buy him and just have him beat up on the other Cobras and make him tough. I never planned on using him in battle. That was never what I would think about, but I would think about him like showing the other guys how to fight and training them. So that was my plan when I was about 6, 7. Probably, too old to do that. But maybe when I display him, I'll make him I'll make him do something like that.
Well, what I thought was cool about him was on the punching bag, it actually says Joe on it. And I never realized that before. Because, I mean, when I picked him up for you a couple weeks ago, that was the first time I think I'd ever held him.
Yeah, I think I may have seen him at a couple shops, but he was always in such bad shape that I never, I don't think I ever really considered buying him. And seeing the Joe thing on there made it a little extra cool, especially because it looks like it was written with like crudely in paint marker or something. So
it looks like a big Sharpie, and it looks like a kid wrote it.
Yeah, very, very, very cool figure, and there's just there's different stories and urban legends about Rocky Balboa and that character, so that adds a little bit to it as well.
Mm-hmm. And I found him at Big Fun Columbus, I think is the name of the shop. You can find them on Facebook. They got a bunch of pictures and videos out there, their display. So if you're in the Columbus area, I'd definitely check it out. Also, we have it up on our Twitter account too, a video of the display they had.
Yeah, I was pretty excited when you and your wife were out there and sent me that picture. There were some other guys that had I been there, I probably could have spent all day checking out guys.
Oh yeah, they had a ton, and they also had one of my absolute favorites as a kid, and that was Big Ben from 1991, the SAS trooper, and he's awesome. And I've seen him only a handful of times out in the wild since we started doing this. And the gold on the bullets is always worn off. And this one here was perfect. And then I looked at the gun, and it actually had the bipod. And I just didn't even care. I was like, I'm taking that home. And then the price ended up being great on it. So after I secured that for myself, then I sent a video to you or some pictures. I'm not sure which one, and I just wanted to see which one you wanted from it.
I appreciate it. There were a couple. They had a nice Naugahyde, and amazingly, you passed on a Still Brigade, right? He had a pretty good looking one of those.
He was they were just asking a little more than what I wanted to spend on one, and they didn't seem to be interested in negotiating on price at all. So I had to walk away from that one.
Listen, I was thinking about it this week. Like, you think like when we go to Joe Fest and wear our shirts proudly, that some folks that listen to this show that might be set up at vendors will just move us along, be like, we're not dealing with you. We're not dealing with the hassle. You guys are too cheap. Just go along.
They'll just say the prices are the prices, boys. I don't got time for you and your games.
Yeah. Well, maybe they won't feel that way Sunday night, right? We'll go back and see how the show's been for them.
Oh, I mean, if it's anything like last year, it'd have been great for them.
Yeah.
I imagine this year it'll even be better with all the toy shows now being canceled. So when it does open back up, people are going to flood them.
Yeah, that's my plan. That is my plan. So we'll just hope everything gets straightened out and we can get down there.
Yeah, definitely. So real quick, back to Big Ben. So I actually remember getting him from Hill's department store when we were a kid, and I remember opening him up. So he is one of the few mint on card characters I want to collect. So I would love to get him on card with the Hills price tag on it. If I could do that, if I could find that again, I would. Yes, I'd be willing to spend some money.
So if anyone's got one with a Hills price card, hit Joe, or price tag, hit Joe up. But
forget that I said what I just said.
Yeah, he ain't gonna spend no money. Don't let him fool you. But so speaking of being cheap, and maybe next episode we won't talk about us being cheap. But since we're talking about it, I spent so much time on eBay this week, and I ran across a couple auctions of some Night Force guys and another kind of we'll say higher end character, right? A Steel Brigade, right? In your alley there, Joe. And they were missing things, incomplete. Some of them were figure only, and for whatever, probably with what's going on right now, the bidding was down. There were like 4 of them that went off, and so rather than just put what I valued those characters or those figures, I was trying to be cheap, and just $1 at a time, and I missed out on all 4 of them, and it just made me so angry. And I am 100% sure if I would have quit playing the game, I don't know if I'm 100% if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure that I would have gotten at least one of them if I would have just put what I valued at them. And it would have been very reasonable still. It would have been a bargain, But I got sucked into the eBay game, trying in the last 30 seconds to get your bid in. So I was so disgusted, like ready to give up on G.I. Joes, quit the podcast. Like I was just so angry at the world because I missed out on those 4 guys. It was 2 Steel Brigades and 2 Night Forces. I missed out on all 4 of them. And so then I just kind of did like revenge shopping, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But, oh, man, I was mad, Joe.
Do you remember from a few podcasts back the title of it?
The Time to Buy?
The Time to Buy.
I know. I've said so often I appreciate Paige's advice, but I never listen. I don't know.
Well, let's quit talking about us being cheap.
Okay, so I decided, I'm buying some Joes. So one of the things you've been getting on to me about is, and I say this affectionately, you say focus your crazy in one place. Look at the sub teams: Night Force, the Slaughters Marauders, Tiger Force, whatever, right? Whatever.
Right.
And so
the thing is with eBay, everything's out there. It's not like just walking into a shop where they have, let's say, 5 to 25 figures, right? Like everything is open and the price ranges are everywhere. So what I've done, at least, is I've focused on just the Eco Warriors, and that's where I'm just going to put all my energy and my G.I. Joe budget for while this is going on. And you were running into the problem of, just like when we go to the toy show, your first 25 minutes there, you can't buy anything because you're just so overwhelmed with the amount and the choices and the decision of what to buy. So my advice to you is just to focus on a specific area.
And it was a good advice. It really was good advice, because there's when I looked one evening, there's like 56,000 things under 3 3/4 inch G.I. Joes figures, right? Action figures. And I probably looked at 3,000 maybe. I don't know. I just kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Like, and I couldn't decide on anything. I'd put things in my cart. The buy it now stuff, I do not buy it. I was just all over the place. So finally I focused on Tiger Force, which I've bounced around to before. You picked me up one of my least favorite figures in all of G.I. Joe, which is Tiger Force Frostbite.
For Christmas. And let me tell this. So we're exchanging Christmas presents. And Mike can tell it's in a clamshell, right? His gift is in a clamshell. He is excited. He knows he's about to open a G.I. Joe. And when he does, what is it? Boom. His least favorite G.I. Joe of all freaking time. And then you can see the disappointment take over his face and then immediately have to look up to me and my family, mostly my family, and tell him thank you and how much he appreciates it. Oh, I'm dying inside because I know how disappointed you are in that very moment. And it's Christmas. So I should be better than that, but I'm not, you know.
Well, I don't know why he bothers me so much. I mean, I guess if you think about the Bengal the Siberian tigers and, you know, and the Arctic up there, they're, you know, they have a similar color scheme and they actually are quite well in their camouflage, but I don't know. It just bothers me.
Oh, yeah. It bothers a lot of people, and rightfully so. But I love that look on your face that Christmas. Oh,
it was
perfect.
very kind. It was very kind. Just so the listeners know, what did I get you for Christmas?
You got me the Still Brigade flag, like
right,
the actual flag that hangs up. I just posted pictures of it. It's up on all the social media. And it took me, 4 months to get that up almost, but I finally did.
Well, I haven't displayed Tiger Force Frostbite yet.
And you probably never will.
I don't know. But one more thing before we go down the rabbit trail, and we'll get back to what I ended up buying on eBay. But my two nicest, I don't know. I have a very nice Cobra Commander. The joints and stuff are so just pristine. But probably even a little bit better condition than him is Tiger Force Frostbite and Sneak Peek.
Yeah, no, your Sneak Peek is straight out of the package.
And if Tiger Force Frostbite is my least favorite or one, then Sneak Peek is my third or fourth least favorite. I mean, so I don't know how I ended up with those guys.
Well,
but,
listen, does your Sneak Peek have the microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is valuable, and I didn't realize how valuable it was until I got on eBay and started shopping around to look for the microphone. Just because I just recently found out about the Brazilian Eco Warriors, and one of them, there's three of them, but only one of them interested me, or one of them struck my interest, and that was, Biosphere, as I think is the translation for it, but it's the Sneak Peek character. And he's in blue, light blue, dark blue, I think. But it doesn't have the mic. So I was hoping to pick up the original version and use that mic on it. And then that's when I went down, of the search for it and found out it was expensive. So
what's expensive?
Well, I didn't see anybody selling the mic by itself. And it was over $50 for the figure. That's a common figure if you had the mic.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe we can work out some kind of a trade.
Right. Well, weren't we gonna? I agreed to buy Static Line off of you. Would you trade Static Line for a mic?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I need the mic and that gun and his M16.
I don't have his M16.
Yes, you do. I gave it to you.
Oh, okay. Because when I bought him, it came with it was mismatched and it had Outback's gun. Remember?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. I forgot about that. All right, so we made a trade.
I'll need his binoculars.
No.
I just wanted to see how much I could get.
I was fine at one point, but the mic is what it is. It doesn't. Yeah. All right. Gosh, you're cheap.
And listen, I don't even know if that's a fair deal or not. We'll do more research and figure out, so it's even for both of us. But just real quick, if you're new jumping into the show, during the whole COVID-19 thing, I've decided to focus my energy on collecting the Eco Warriors from 1991 and 1992. And it doesn't take you long to realize there's not a whole bunch of them. But the beautiful thing about this hobby is when you just start, there's just more and more and more to uncover. So I'm certain that I, at some point, must have glanced past the subsection on Yojo and the Eco Warriors and probably clicked on it and saw that there was a Brazilian, edition. But I never paid any attention. And now looking back in there, I find these great characters. Now, and I didn't realize how great they were before, but you're always uncovering that extra level. And that's what I find so much fun about this hobby.
Yep. Just when you think you know it all, you find out that there's a different color variation released in some other country or given out of a cereal box or something. So lots of layers to this onion, just like Shrek, the ogre. Are you familiar, Joe?
Just when I look at you.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So we got way off.
Yeah. Well, you were going somewhere. I'm sorry. I do this.
Right.
I have a hard time staying on target.
It's okay. All right. But one question: Are the Brazilian guys pretty cool? I'm not even familiar with them. I've never noticed.
So for me, it was awesome to find the sneak peek mold being used because I'm not. For me, in my collection, I don't want to collect every single figure. Like, if there's a figure I don't care for, I'm just not going to pick it up in the line. But I love seeing this wacky blue paint scheme, and it just matches the other ones so well. And I don't plan on using that mold anyway, because I kind of don't like buying the repaints a whole lot. So, yeah, just to have this whole new character for me to add to the Eco Warriors, I'm looking forward to. I just love. And the other two it was one of the Battle Force 2000 guys, and I'm sorry, I just can't remember who the third is. But if you're listening and you go to yojo.com, click on sub-teams, just Eco Warriors, it'll be like 3/4 down the page, and they're all there.
I'm going to take a look when we get done here tonight. All right, so Joe, you've kind of now said that you're into the Eco Warriors. What a neat time to be into that, or an ironic time perhaps would be a better way to say that. But
yes,
I have decided to focus my crazy on Tiger Force. So when I decided that I was going on a bit of a buying binge, one of the first things I thought about was a couple Fridays ago, Brian from Special Mission Force posted a Tiger Force Friday, and he had a really neat custom Spirit. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, it's hard to say one of his best photos ever, but because all of them are just tremendous. But yes, as soon as I saw that, it was like, wow, that was great. And I believe I sent it to you early in the morning. Yeah.
I'd already seen it by that point, but I was excited about it. And then the gung ho that he did with it is super cool too, which is, I think, a mock up of Lifeline and some other, maybe another character. I couldn't quite figure that one out. So whenever I saw the Spirit, though, I just automatically decided I was going to put him together. And so the way Brian did that was, or at least from what I can tell, it looks like Spirit's head, Duke's torso and arms, and then Roadblock's, lower half. So I have a Duke that I'm okay with, right? His legs and stuff aren't great, but his chest, torso is. So I'm going to use that. And I bought a Spirit head. So that was the first thing I bought. And I'm looking for kind of a rather cheap Roadblock to finish him up. The next thing I bought was a little bit controversial, Joe.
You bought something controversial. Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Is this a G.I. Joe or?
Yeah. So a controversial G.I. Joe. Maybe it's a little melodramatic. Maybe that's a little over the top. But you and me, so we haven't bought too many customs.
No.
And so using the Starduster mold, I believe it's Black Major makes a Starduster Tiger Force mold.
Okay.
It wasn't off of the Black Major eBay site, but or his website, but somebody was selling one out of their personal collection and it was really, really reasonable. And so I just kept looking at him, and I just thought, man, he is super cool, you know. And you know, I don't need to worry about it holding up through the sandbox and you know the toy box and all that. You know, he's going to be nicely wrapped. So I pulled the trigger and bought one, and I am kind of excited because that's my very first custom.
I think it's awesome. You sent me the picture of it. I think it looks really cool. I don't have any of the Black Major stuff, but yeah, they always look good. I enjoy seeing them, so it's neat that you get to add that to the collection. Now you need to find a Steel Brigade Tiger Force.
Oh, that reminds me. Apple iTunes reached out to me. They said that the name of our show was infringing upon the copyright of Steel Brigade because we talk about it all the time. And they felt like we might be in trouble if we don't talk about something else.
It's really, really fair of you to say. You can also tell that I handle all of our social media because about every third photo is a Steel Brigade figure in some way. So listen, how about this? Next week, you take over the social media, and we'll see what you post a bunch of.
Probably nothing.
Yeah, nothing would happen, folks. You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't hear a word. You'd think we were dead.
I'm struggling to come around to social media, but I'll get there. I'll get there. So I got those two. I was pretty excited. I bought those yesterday, and then I put a bunch of stuff on my watch list today, and not Tiger Force related, but I've talked about it on the show before. Metalhead. I was able to pick up a really, really nice metalhead, all 4 pegs. The gray looks good. Just a super solid figure. Maybe the head, there might be something on the head, like on his little like face shield around the eyes. So maybe I'll look at getting a different head in the future. But overall, those guys are so hard to come by, especially with all the pegs. The gray looks good. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited for you. It's one of your favorite characters when we were a kid.
And then I picked up a Tiger Force Roadblock and a Tiger Force Recondo today.
I think that Tiger Force Recondo is one of the best looking Tiger Force characters out there.
Yeah, and because he came with the copter, he's a little bit hard to find, and I feel like the crotch in particular is broken a lot, and I assume just from when we were kids, getting them in and out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tough on them. And, that gun fits very tightly. It's a very cool gun. It has the wrap and stuff on it, but it does fit tightly. And I've noticed his thumbs are broken a lot. So pretty excited to come across one that was completely intact and the color was good. So I'm well on my way to completing the Tiger Force line.
You don't want to knock it all out in a day, though, brother. Now you're gonna make it like one a week or something like that. This COVID thing isn't going away anytime soon, unfortunately.
I know, but when we're done here, I'm gonna get back on there and see what I can't, knock out.
I love it. You go months and months, and then once you buy one thing, you just can't stop yourself.
I fall off the wagon. I know. It's just like you said. It's like that at the toy show. Once I start spending money at the toy shows, I don't stop buying. I don't. I just buy until we leave.
It's just those first 40 minutes.
Yeah, where I watch a bunch of stuff I want, leave, and then I get into it. Here's something I just noticed too. Have you heard this, or do you know anything about this? Like Tiger Force Dusty has a notoriously broken crotch. I noticed it months ago because Dusty's one of my favorite characters. I loved him in the cartoon. I think both his regular toy is pretty cool. His version 3 toy from that we bought when we were kids, when he comes with Sandstorm. Just I don't know, big fan of Dusty. One of my favorite 2-part series, is the Trader.
Yeah. At Joe Fest last year, the Trader exclusive that they had. I mean, that was the big one for me that I wanted to get.
So I've noticed for a long, so like, I'm aware that they used a little bit of a different plastic with Beachhead, and his crotch is notoriously broken. But have you heard anything about Dusty?
No, I haven't heard anything about it, but that would be my guess. Is it's the same? Maybe a different material was used and just makes it more brittle.
Used to that sometimes on the vehicle drivers, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it just seems like it's disproportionate to him.
Well, it's getting it with that bipod that's tough.
Yeah. And for me, like that bipod it wouldn't bother me to not have it.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Save yourself a lot of money. Because I have the V1 Dusty, a beautiful version of it, right? And it's missing the bipod, and I made a deal with myself. I'm not going to put it on display until I get the bipod, thinking that would motivate me to get a bipod. I just, I just haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. Actually, I haven't.
You don't want to suffer the ridicule of Lisa, of your wife, looking at it constantly and being like, Dusty doesn't have a bipod.
She goes, listen, she doesn't admit it, but I swear to God, she goes in there and she moves the characters in my display case just a tiny, tiny bit, just a fraction of an inch, just at random. Does. And I know it. And she knows it eats me alive. It's either that or the Indiana in the cupboard thing is happening, and my Joes are coming to life and battling in the middle of the evening. Either way, one of them's happening.
Right. That's been my dream, is that happens. I wish that happened.
That would be awesome.
So I'm super. So yeah. So I'm excited. I bought some Tiger Force, and I'm kind of focused now on finishing out my collection. So here's what I need to get still. Okay. Tiger Force Lifeline. I need to get Tripwire, Dusty, and then now that I'm gonna break this Duke apart, I need a Duke figure and Flint.
Yeah.
All good ones, and they'll be fun to track down. And speaking, since I've been into to the Tiger Force for like 2 days, again, always like Tiger Force, but kind of getting into it now. Fun School has a really neat variation of Lifeline.
Yeah. Is he expensive? I'm not familiar with that one. I'm familiar with the look. I just don't know the price.
Yeah, he's he's 100-ish in package.
Gotcha.
Slightly less. I think I only saw one. I think I only saw one on eBay recently, not in package. There's a couple in package. So, but he's out there. He's not terribly hard to find. Not like Shipwreck.
Yes, you need that UK Tiger Force Shipwreck now.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I think he's Brazilian, isn't he?
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm sorry, I don't know.
We saw him one time just in horrendous shape at a toy show.
Yes.
I think we talked about it on here. And it was, if he would have been in maybe even a little better shape, I would have said, hey, maybe I could reach out to somebody in the community and ask if they would have been willing to do a restoration. But he was bad. He was pretty bad off.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, because I think we talked about it. I don't know if we talked about this on the Hershey show or not. And if we did, I'm sorry, but we'll talk about it again. But I just felt like it was in such bad shape. Once you got it and you found somebody to restore it, just their time would have been enough money to where you could have just bought a nicer version of it and you would have been just as happy. You know what I mean? Like, It was going to take a lot of hours to get that thing back to presentable shape.
Yeah, it had 2 broken thumbs. The rest of him was intact. He had a couple gouges, though, in him, different places. So, yeah, he needed a lot of work. But as we've talked about before, he's one of my favorites. So if I could ever track one down, I would like to buy one. But they are real. I mean, that's a hard one to find. It seems like, I don't know, probably a couple times a year does it pop up on eBay, or at least in the time we've been doing it, I think I've only seen 2.
Yeah, I don't watch for it. It's not on my saved searches, but I'll definitely add it to try to help you out.
All right, so that's what I got into this week as far as collecting. What about you?
Since the last show, I got into both the Ozones that I ordered. I also ordered 2 clean sweeps. And, I picked up both because neither of them were perfect. And this way I was able to mix and match them and for a cheaper way, get it done.
Nice.
Get the super clean one of each built. Now with the clean sweep, that one, I bought the first one because the figure was perfect. I mean, I zoomed in real well. I said, okay, that's the figure I want. And then the second one, there was an auction going off in a few days, and I was holding out for that because it had all the accessories and it had the full file card uncut. And I was like, yes. So I said it had a pretty decent dollar amount that I was willing to go for it, and I felt pretty secure I was going to win it. And I did, and it came just about to that number. When it got to the house, or when I opened up the mailbox, I was just disgusted. The seller just sent it in a paper envelope, just a big envelope. No padding, no cardboard surrounding it, nothing. So that file card...
Hold on. So you mean literally a paper envelope, nothing?
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
That's amazing. That's mind-boggling. Yeah.
And it was just, I couldn't believe it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're paying for this file card. This file card is in pristine condition, and this is how you ship it. I mean, obviously this wasn't a Joe person, but it just takes a little bit of common sense to know that that's not how you would ship it. So,
right.
I get the file card out, and it's not destroyed, but it's definitely not in the condition I paid for. But it is what it is. So then, I get the figure out, and it's wrapped in this foam, but this disgusting, dirty, squishy, smelly foam. And it's got like hair clung to it. The whole thing was just dirty. Just unwrapping it. And right now with everything going on, you're already a little cautious when you open stuff up. But this was, this was taking it to the end. So immediately that just went out in the garage and waited till I could get to cleaning it up on Saturday morning.
Oh, don't you hate that too? I mean, all that excitement of getting a Joe, getting something in the mail, and then they just suck the life out of you.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But all in all, you know what? I know I just complained about it, but I couldn't have been happier with my week, with getting in all those guys. And then this morning I woke up and I cleaned them all real well, and then I just pieced them together, and I got 3. I got the whole team together, the original 3 Eco Warriors, all in, super great condition, and they're ready to go up on the display case. So I'm going to do that after the show.
I thought, are you redoing your case? Because you posted a picture. I thought you redid it today already. Or did you save a spot for it?
No, I didn't that wasn't the case that I posted today, but I am going to redo it.
Okay.
So I've already started taking some of them down, and I'm going to put the Eco Warriors up tonight and probably finish it off tomorrow.
Nice. I updated my display too. Eli took pictures of the one and we posted them. You posted them, but I took that one away and I put up a bunch of Cobras. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I haven't got to display my twins that I picked up a few months back. So that I was excited to do that.
Oh man, do you want to talk about those twins?
Well, we need to get to these questions, right?
We got a minute. All right, those twins. I'm ecstatic that you have them, right, for you. But there's a little part of me that's frustrated and dying inside that you got them.
Okay, well, why is that? Because you saw him first?
So, to tell a little bit of the backstory, Mike and his family, during the hiatus, they came down, and we had a pretty quiet weekend. It wasn't the story that we told a couple shows ago. It wasn't that trip.
No, this was actually right around the holidays, like right after the holidays.
Okay,
it's been that long.
Yeah, so like right after, so probably just before New Year's or just after New Year's?
Yeah, just before. Yep.
Okay. So Mike and his family come down, and we just have a relaxing weekend around the house pretty much. But we went to a place called Third Floor Comics in Nitro, West Virginia. And it's a cool antique shop in the downstairs, and then upstairs it's a vintage toys and comic books, vintage video games. It's got a little bit of everything. So we go there, and over the years, since I've been down here in West Virginia, at moments I got like a love-hate relationship with it. Like I'll go in there. First off, with saying that, the staff has always been great. But I go in there sometimes and I'm like, wow, these are great deals. What a great selection. And then I'll go back 2 weeks later and it'll look like they got 50 Joes in. But they all been run through, the sandbox for 20 years ago. And they just got pulled out, barely wiped off, and they're asking $40 a figure. And I'm just like, what in the world is going on? So it's just like... The pricing has definitely not been consistent, but I assume that's just whatever employees do in the pricing that day. I don't know. But so anyway, get back on track. So I take Mike and Eli to the shop so they could see it, but having no idea what Joes are going to be there. And we go in the back section and there really wasn't much there.
No. So the section that you kind of pointed to, there was a couple things. Pretty nice looking Havoc. Didn't really have room for a Havoc, and wasn't sure how I was going to get a Havoc back. Not that it's that big, but we took the truck, so you want to not the extra room. So I was just going to pass. I didn't know if maybe I'd pick something up for Eli, but I wasn't thinking I was going to buy anything.
So then we start. I don't know if we were walking out or just looking around at the rest of the stuff, and there was this like new cabinet. It was just full of Joes, and they had great stuff. More stuff than we could buy at that moment. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those times like, because if I go in there and they got one good Joe or two good Joes, I'm going to pick it up. But they had a selection. Yeah.
Somebody had sold a very nice collection. It was, this wasn't something that somebody found up in their attic from when they were kids. I mean, this was a G.I. Joe collector, an adult collector that decided to get rid of their stuff. It was very, very good.
So right away I went to the shipwreck and I picked him up, and like I do at every shipwreck I pick up, I go straight to the belt buckle because it's gold and it's always worn off. And this one was on point. It was perfect, right? This was the shipwreck. I look it over the rest of it. This is the shipwreck I've been looking for all this time. Like finally the blue seemed to be perfect. Like I finally got him. I finally got that mint condition shipwreck, because I just decided I wasn't going to buy that figure twice. I was going to get the right one, and I got him. Boom. And we keep looking, and I think you're kind of hesitant. Like I don't think you were really ready to buy anything.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things where I wasn't prepared, and I knew Eli was going to want something, so I was like, all right, I don't, what's my budget on GI Joes today, right? I mean, it was right after Christmas. We had taken the trip down. Eli was checking out a couple, so I wanted to hook him up. So I just wasn't sure, like, what should I do?
So at this point, I just finished looking at Shipwreck, and I grabbed the twins, and I look them over, and I'm like, wow, these guys are beautiful. And I hand them to you, and I say, yeah, if you want them, they're yours. If not, I'm taking them home with me. And you looked over them for a few minutes, and you decided, yeah, I will pick these up. And I think I grabbed another figure, and Eli grabbed a figure. I don't really remember which ones those were, though.
Well, he picked up the original Destro version 1 for
yep.
He picked him up for $10. It said missing pistol, and this guy's very, very nice. Hopefully you'll get to see him in a picture at some point. And it turned out, like I said, he picked him up for $10, which was just an unreal deal. But with version 1, his backpack actually opens up and you keep the pistol in there. So when we were messing with him on the drive home, I opened it up, and sure enough, the pistol was in there. So
I remember driving, you started smiling, you were shaking it, and when you heard it shaking, you knew it was in there.
Oh yeah, I was pretty excited about that. I mean, that's a heck of a pickup. But Zamont and Tomax were two, a big part of the original Sumbo series, and I had one of them when I was a kid. I don't remember which one until his rubber band broke. Picked him up at a yard sale. And I always liked him a lot, because he was one of the guys that I was watching every morning and also playing with, So I was very, very excited to pick up a solid Zermatt Tomax. And when I displayed him today, Joe, I'm telling you, they're having a conversation, and I have them set up. And I think I might have bent their elbows for the first time. I'm not sure that those elbows had ever been bent. They're just they're just that pristine. So
listen,
but
folks,
here's the
go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
Here's the thing: if you have a spirit that I often regret giving you, so I'm not sure I want to make the change.
I'll trade you. There's a $5 difference. I'll give you spirit and $5 for those twins. That would be a silly trade.
I'll keep the twins, but I think about spirit too. And my point is, I just don't want people to think I don't throw you a bone when you're looking for guys.
This is what happened. All right. Well, let me move down the road of the story, and then I'll come back to it. So then we get home. We're actually in good lighting because Third Floor Comics is upstairs. It's pretty much an attic. Like, the lighting is not the best. But so we get home, and I open up Shipwreck, get him out of the clamshell. I'm starting to look at him, and he's really not in that good condition. The blue is not that blue. His accessories are broken. There's a chip out of his hat. Like, it was not the figure and my excitement that I had thought I purchased. And then we look over at the twins, and I'm not joking. When Mike said that might have been the first time their arms were moved, there's a real good chance of that. Those two figures were just like they came out of the package in what, like 85, 86?
Yeah, the 85, yep, I think.
Here's the other thing, like the silver on those, especially around the knees, the waist, they're always worn. There was nothing worn with these guys. These guys were absolutely perfect. So at that moment, I'm just sick at my stomach. I'm like, I gave away the best twins I'll ever see. I will never. I look at every set of twins I go. I mean, they made a bazillion of them. They're at every shop you go to almost, and I've never ever seen them anywhere close to that. So good for you. But there's there's a big part of me that's jealous.
Yeah. You might have to lower your standards if you're going to get upset.
Nah, well, maybe. I mean,
that's your bar. I don't know if you want to make that the bar.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna wait till you need money one day.
Yeah. Well, I keep buying Tiger Force tonight. I might need money for a divorce lawyer.
No, but a good way for you to go might be like what I've done recently is kind of like buying the two, like looking for the not so good character that actually has the accessories, and then going after the good character without the accessories, or however it breaks up. If you buy a couple that aren't perfect or whatnot, then you can build a super clean.
And that's kind of what I've done with a couple of the Night Force guys and some things. I feel like if you find a clean figure, pick it up and piece it together over time. It might be easier to do. I did that with Tunnel Rat. I'm pretty excited about that pickup, and I've been looking at some of those accessories online, and we'll see. You can't buy everything in one day, but that's my goal.
It sounds like you tried today, though.
I did. And listen, today's not over, so when we finish this up, I might just go ahead and knock out Tiger Force and just go ahead and start moving my stuff to the basement when Mrs. Mike sees what I've bought. All right. You ready to get into the questions?
Before we get into questions, I just wanted to hit last week's question back. Toby, I don't think I mentioned this, is, we're all buying on eBay now, but the one thing I really love about buying in the wild is I remember the story and the little adventure for each one of those figures. So when I see them up in the display case, I also remember that time of picking them up, at least for the majority of them. So that makes it a little special for me. Like if I pick up one on eBay, that story or memory really doesn't stick around. But if I pick it up in the wild, there's usually some kind of shenanigans that happen while I'm doing so. So
That's the thing. We can't leave the house without something happening. You know, like it's just been like that since we were 6. You know, we go check the mailbox and something would happen. So, I mean, if you and I get together and go do something, it generally results in a story that will be retold at some point. Just to finish up too, Road Pig asked us about the Pyramid of Darkness, and we both watched the 5-part miniseries this week.
Yes, really enjoyed it. Thank you for asking that question because it got me back in the it got me rewatching the Sunbow series. So I initially forgot that it was a mini series, and I figured it was. Then you mentioned it, so I thought it would be 3 episodes. It ended up being 5 episodes, and I think I'm on like episode 17 or 18 now. So yeah, just when I get on the treadmill in the morning, I've been watching about 3 episodes each morning. So I've enjoyed that. So thank you, Road Pig. And to answer go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what was your guys?
So I think it's in the first 2 episodes or episode 2 and 3 when Shipwreck and Snake Eyes go into the Cobra underground or underwater workstation. There's the workers, and they're in the black suit with the large Cobra emblem on it. Those characters, I would love to see not Shipwreck or Snake Eyes, but just like a work trooper in that uniform would have been amazing.
Been a great army builder. What else, Joe? Who else would have you wanted from that one?
At the end, I think it was in episode 3 and 5. The female singer, or 4 and 5, I don't remember exactly. Sorry, but so the singer, I believe her name was Satin. She's in a red dress and all that through the mini series. But if they would have put her in some kind of fatigues, and continued that character's plot, I think that would have been really cool. I would have loved to see both of those. The other ones that were cool, their notable mentions, was Lady J and Destro. Were both in scuba gear, and they did a battle under the water, but both of their suits were pretty cool too and would have made great figures.
Yeah, good call on that. One thing I was kind of thinking too is, in the 80s, the characters we love are Larry Hama and Hasbro working together. But as you watch the Sunbow series, the writers of that show had some really good characters a few times. There's a couple in particular. There's a Cobra Trooper. She has blonde hair. Kind of towards the end of the first season, she kind of reappears in a couple episodes. She's pretty good. There's just kind of different characters throughout that kind of play supporting roles that you think to yourself, you know what, those characters could have been Joes or Cobras. I give a lot of credit to those writers. They did a great job.
Yeah, they really, really did.
Okay, so ready to get into some new questions?
Absolutely.
All right. Do you have much knowledge about the UK Action Force line? This question comes from Scrap Iron 13. And have you seen a Robo-Skull? What are your thoughts on Scrap Iron as a figure and as a character in the comics and cartoons?
Do you want to take this first, or you want me to?
No, you go ahead.
Scrap Iron, we got to be honest. Me and Mike don't have much knowledge on anything.
Yeah.
And if you've listened to the show for more than 15 minutes, you probably guessed that. No, the UK Action Force line, I do not have a whole lot of knowledge on it, but I am very interested in it. Some of the figures that we that have come across, I find extremely, extremely interesting, and would love to add to our collection. As far as the Robo Skull, at Joe Fest they had like 9 Robo Skulls or something like that. Roma's Collectibles did, so we got to see them there. They were pretty interesting. It's the only thing like it in the G.I. Joe universe that I'm aware of. So those are pretty wild.
Yeah, kind of akins back to a TIE fighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second part of that question where, kind of the figure, I love the character. I love the character in the Serpentor miniseries, Rise Serpentor Rise.
Yes, I think that's the deepest dive they take into him, isn't it?
Yeah, and he almost plays, he's almost like a Judas type character,
mm-hmm.
there's that double agent just going to the highest bidder, constantly betraying, loyal to nobody but himself. Just an ultimate bad guy. In that black and white kind of world of good versus evil. He strikes you as pure evil, which very few are, but for the purposes of the cartoon, it plays very well.
That's really the only memories I have of Scrap Iron is from that miniseries. Because we didn't read the comic. I mean, not consistently. We would just pick up the occasional copy, down at the grocery store from our house. But I mean, G.I. Joe wasn't there every month or every week. It was just kind of what showed up at random.
That's what it seemed. Yeah. And, too, I think by the time we were reading, it was, they had kind of moved on. But
yeah, that's a good point too.
The toy, Eli and I have one, and I say Eli and I have one because, I picked it up one day and then he wanted to use it for, pictures, and I haven't seen it since, so I don't really know if we have one or if he just has one. It's great because it comes with like a small, kind of like missile launcher.
Yeah,
I guess
the double, surface to air missile, or I'm not exactly sure what it's called in the file card, but it's the only weapon or accessory like that I'm aware of in the G.I. Joe line, especially in those early years.
Yeah, because, once you get kind of those early 90s or like 91, 92, they start providing like the mechanical missile launchers. But that really made him stand out, for that time period. And I love his colors because he is the ultimate, the color of Cobra, right? I mean, yeah. Those colors match it perfectly. And if you were ever going to create a perfect Cobra uniform, that would be it.
And I always loved, like you said, the uniform, the accessories, but that helmet always threw me off. It's just like kind of like this big black glob on his head. And then from not reading the comics and not seeing him a lot in the cartoon, I think it always kind of threw me off a little, or just didn't make me flock to that character. But since you asked about this question, or thanks for asking this question, because since you did, it had me looking him up. And I found out about the 2004 Urban Division Scrap Iron. And it is sweet. So if you're not familiar with it, definitely look this guy up. But he's really a throwback to those original colors, but a real detailed helmet. So it's like a gray helmet with a black visor, and then the Cobra symbol on top is done up in red. So I think what I'm going to do is that's the Scrap Iron I'm going to purchase and display, but with those original accessories.
Nice. That'll play well. And he came in the 6-pack, right?
Yeah, he did.
Is there 6 or 8?
I think it's a 6-pack.
Nice. Yeah, I like that pack. Thanks for the question, Scrap Iron. Okay, Joe. Last question for this episode. We'll save the rest for the next one. What's more enjoyable to you, collecting online, garage sales, comic book stores, toy stores, or conventions? And what is the limit to your collection? Joe Hunter 73 says that his limit is 82 to 86. And are we also collecting vehicles? Do we like them boxed, etc.? And what about kit bashing, buying multiple to kit bash and paint? He finds that that's very soothing and very soothing mediation. Joe, go ahead, get started.
Well, first, Joe Hunter, I just found your Instagram page, and it's awesome. So thanks for putting that all out. I saw the kit bashing you did with the G.I. Joe accessories. That's super cool. I recommend also posting that out on Twitter because I think a bunch of people would really enjoy seeing that. What he's done is he's just, kit bashed literally weapons, he's modified them and combined them and then painted them, and it just looks really cool. Just really cool. A lot of stuff. Well, not actually all of it. I never would have thought of doing, but I'm glad he did, and I'm glad I got to see it.
Yeah. And I think for kit bashing, where Joe and I probably struggle is the talent needed for that. Right. So Joe and I are kind of talentless.
Well, I think the other thing is with the kit bashing is, we've really focused our collection is on higher end conditioned figures. So usually you're not going to take those ones apart and mix them with other ones a lot of times. So I think as we build our collection and then we have, figures that are, not as valuable per se, or you didn't spend quite as much money, then you won't mind taking them apart and mixing them up and see what you get. So I see how that could be a lot of fun. As for the limit of the collection, I don't personally have one. The majority of my collection is figures from, the original Real American Hero line, so 82 to 94. But I also enjoy convention figures and, the 2000 stuff. Some of that I like too. And then
anything O-ring, right? I mean, really, if it's O-ring related.
Yeah, really, that's really what it comes down to is it O-ring? Because I even got the A-Team figures. I got those, and then some of the or at least one of the Wrangler figures. So, and then we have all the NASCAR drivers that they made in O-ring. To more so answer your question, I don't have a limit because I'm afraid if I put a limit on it, then I put an expiration date on it. So if I set a goal of, let's just say 82 to 94, and I wanted every figure made loose and displayed, one day that would happen. And right now it's real open-ended for me. And every couple weeks I find something new about the hobby or about G.I. Joe, and I realize I can start collecting that. So that's why I really enjoy it the way I'm doing it right now. Like I just found out about patches and about the 80s patches that they made. So I'm starting to dive into that. I mean, I only, I have my Steel Brigade ones, of course, but I just have the 2 G.I. Joe patches that I bought last week and posted a picture. But from just doing that, I found out more about the patches. I'm like, wow, it'd be cool to collect these over the years and then put them up in a nice frame and then have the history of all of them.
Nice. Okay, favorite way to buy stuff. I tell you, I mean, I love going to conventions. I feel like going to conventions, you can kind of plan for a whole day of getting to find Joes and buy Joes. There's also something really fun about discovering one at like a flea market or a yard sale, because you know what I mean. That's a treasure find when you happen upon those.
I'm with you. I mean, I've never found them at a garage sale yet, but at the flea market every once in a while, over the past summer, I was fortunate enough to come across a couple, so that was cool. But conventions, without a doubt, is my favorite way to do it. I mean, literally, I went to a handful of toy shows last year, but going to Joe Fest was the highlight of all last year for me. I feel like I keep pumping it up to where I could be a Joe Fest salesman, but I just had such a good time there. Overall, just the atmosphere, and then the purchasing of the toys were there in all conditions, and being able to see everything. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely, it was the first time me and you had ever seen the Defiant displayed was at Joe Fest. That was just such a cool moment. I didn't even know I wanted a Defiant till then.
Right. It's so true. I wanted a Defiant very bad. The conventions are fun, and too, like, for you and me, getting to travel to a convention, we take our sons with us, so it's our guy. It was a guy trip for us last year. It was kind of the first time the four of us took a trip just us. Mm-hmm. So there was that level to it that made it really fun. So, and I mean, for me too, I just love those making the circles and shopping like all day. It's just fun because, it's not like you go to a retail mall or something like that. Like, every booth has whatever they're selling. That's it, right? That's the only one like that, because it's all unique and it's all different.
Right.
And that's very, very cool.
And then whether it's your first trip around the show or it's your 9th trip around the show, or your 9th trip to certain booths can be so big, you'll discover something new. You're like, you haven't seen it all yet.
No, and Sunday night's going to roll around this weekend, or this year in Joe Fest, and there's still going to be stuff. Or when we're driving back, we're going to say, you know what? I wish I'd have circled back around and looked at that one again. I think I might should have bought that. Even if we got a trunk full of shit. We're still going to say that.
It's so true.
Well, Joe, I think that's probably all the time we have for today for these questions. So we'll do one more. Well, I think we got to get one more episode in to get these next questions. So
yeah, we got 3 more. So if we haven't answered your question yet, we promise we'll get to it next show. If you got some extra time, if you could drop us either a like or a review on wherever you found us, we would really appreciate it, and that'd help other people find us. So, all right, folks, you take care, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Good night, guys. So what is kit bash? I don't even know what kit bashing is.
Kit bashing is just when you mix and match figures together.
Oh, that has nothing to do with like painting and stuff. We're certainly talented enough to take them apart and put them back together. We certainly possess that. So
yeah. We have thumbs. We're capable.
Disposable thumbs allow us to do that. I didn't know what kit bashing was. I thought it was like a fancy way to say like customizing. But okay. No, so basically I'm going to kit bash. I'm going to rip off Brian's idea and kit bash. What's his name? I know this is going to you're going to have to take all this out, of course, but
I'm not taking any of this out.
Yes, you are. Spirit. I'm going to do that to Spirit. Nice. I kind of wanted you to put him on a jean jacket, like a stone-washed jean jacket.
All on the back? Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe that's what I'll do. Shorts. I'll put them all on a jean jacket and then frame that jean jacket and put that up on the wall.
That'd be badass. That'd be something. That'd be real American hero stuff. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Hold on. So, this is what we're going to try to do, people. No promises, but this is really, really what we're going to try to work at. We're going to try to put out...
Joe,
yes.
If you're going to... You already released that on the next show, on that show you did, so you can't talk about that.
Ah, you're right. All right. Well, then, thanks.
Otherwise, when they release that, it's not going to be something people don't know.
It's a good point. I think.
Aren't you glad you got me?
I need you. So we just got our blooper for the end of the show.
Yeah. The whole 38 minutes is a blooper, Joe. the whole thing.